Welcome to Auto Elysium. I'm Scott Anderson, and today we're looking at this 1973 BMW 2002. This car is near and dear to my heart. I went with my buddy Spencer when he went and picked it up, and it lived in my backyard for about 3 years. I absolutely love this car, and I'm sad to see it go. But I would absolutely love to see this car back on the road. So thank you, Spencer, so much for having me out to look at your 73 BMW. I absolutely love this car.
Well, thanks for coming out, Scott, and helping me document this car a little bit before we actually have to let it go.
Before we get going looking at this car, I'd just like to kind of tell everybody how you and I met. We've been great friends for a long time. And the way I met Spencer is I actually bought a car from him. It was a 1987 Alfa Romeo Milano. We both have the same obsession.
So, that being said, part of the reason we're getting rid of this car is to fund a GTV project that I've been working on for probably as long as I've known Scott.
I think it's time we take a look at this car. Spencer, would you mind showing us around?
No, Scott, let's take a little look. So a couple things with this car. Let's bring the first and most obvious is it does have some classic BMW rust. There's some down in the rocker panels and a little bit on the base of the doors, the wheel arches, but most of this is fairly superficial rust. You know, I think you can get away with wheel arch repair kits, little blast sanding off. I don't think there's going to be a lot of metal replacement that has to be done on this car. Okay, and some of the worst of the rust is on the right front fender here, as you can see. Aftermarket replacement fenders are readily available, and or I have seen many videos where people will actually just cut and weld the replacement metal into this. Pretty easy fix and keeps the car more original. Okay, the front end of the car appears to be in pretty good shape. Again, a little bit of rust starting to bubble around the turn signal lenses in the front, but overall very workable, very good. There's a small ding in the hood, and the front trim piece, again, I believe is very salvageable and can be worked out. This is mostly superficial from rock chipping. Okay, on the left side of the car, you can see there again is some rock chipping. I think most of this would sand out. Again, you never really know what's under there until you sand it off, but this actually appears to be fairly mild. The rockers actually look to be in pretty decent shape. However, this side of the car is missing the lower trim piece for the rocker assembly. Okay, the back end of the car, which is actually one of my favorite parts of the BMW 2002, and especially 73 and older, features these gorgeous round tail lights, which has coined the name for these cars as the Roundy. A lot of people just refer to these cars as Roundies, and I believe even there's a magazine out referred to as Roundel. Of course, the Dude Abide sticker should mean something, and also another prominent feature on this car is the automatic. Now, with this car, as we purchased it, the automatic is in the trunk where I believe it belongs. Alright, something else this car is going to include, which I consider a giant bonus, is there is an 81 320i parts car, which includes the 5-speed jet-drag transmission, which will give this car a much more comfortable highway gear, and is just a better transmission all the way around. Many people do conversions. The automatic car features a larger transmission tunnel, so there's no modification that has to be done to the transmission or to the transmission tunnel to install the 5-speed. Although you will have to modify a driveline. There's some other parts to retrofitting the 5-speed. These cars make a wonderful conversion with the 5-speed. Alright, another issue with the BMW 2002s in general is with heavy undercarriage rust, they tend to rust out the area where the shock tower, the area where the shock bolts up to the car, tend to rust out and make these very unstable. As you can see, There is almost no rust on these, and again would be an excellent platform of a car to build. All right, and another nice thing you like to see with a car before you build or start a restoration is panel fitment and just general fitment of the car. As you can see, the trunk snaps nice. Most of the weather seals are still in usable condition, and I would say better than average. Nice tight fit, everything, good gaps, good body lines. And the same is true with the doors. However, the weather seals, the weather stripping on the doors is probably going to need to be replaced to do it right. But nice fit, no sagging. The gaps are good, lines up, body lines match up. This is one of the reasons I consider this a nice donor car, or a car to start a quality restoration or build on. So the interior on this car is actually in pretty good shape. There's a fair amount of wear on the original carpets, but they're still intact and usable. The passenger seat is in quite good shape. However, the driver's seat, before I purchased this car, somebody had installed an Alfa Romeo seat. That can either be included or excluded with the car, but I do not have an original replacement for this seat. The dash has a couple cracks, looks like about 4 cracks coming down, but overall again is very usable, very intact. Also, the headliner is in pretty usable condition, and this is a sunroof car, which is a kind of nice option. All right, now to the engine compartment. So this seems to be a fairly original engine, not too many modifications. It has the original Solix 2-barrel carburetor. Many people have replaced those with the Weber 3236 DGV. I personally think that would be a welcomed upgrade, but that will be up to the next owner. Also, I would consider putting in a Pertronix ignition system, which is a very moderate upgrade. The actual engine health I really do not know much about, as we have not been able to run the car sans transmission. However, the donor car, the 320, also runs an M10 engine with Bosch CIS injection. I believe that engine could be retrofitted as well, and there was documentation that the cylinder head on that engine was rebuilt, as well as the 320 has a fairly new clutch assembly, which would be a bonus in the 5-speed conversion. A couple things in the engine compartment, not engine related, is you can see some of the rust in the initial headlight buckets, still at the very early stage where it would be very reasonable to repair. Along with the other side as well, you can maybe see a little more there. But overall, once again, in pretty good shape. Also, the car comes with its 4 original hubcaps plus 1. 2 are on the car, 3 as you see. The car has a very unused set of Bridgestones on it. However, they are very old. It would be great for initial rebuilding of the car and running of the car. By the time the car is truly roadworthy, you'll probably want to replace them with fresh rubber.
Spencer, thank you so much for having me out to look at your 1973 BMW 2002. I really enjoyed looking this car over again. I'm sad to see it leave, but I totally understand. So in the description down below, I am going to put Spencer's contact info, and once it sells, he'll let me know, and I'll pull the contact info. So thank you, Spencer.
Well, thanks, Scott, for coming out. And once again, sad to see the BMW 2002 is going to have to go. But Enzo, the Alpha dog, says it's time to get the Alpha going, and the BMW has to go. Thank you, everyone, for joining in. And if you have any more information about the BMW, please feel free to contact me.
Well, thank you. Turns out Enzo's in charge, and we'll see you on the next episode of Auto Elysium.